Hey friends, this is Wishko the Ferret. Thanks for hopping into the Ferret Den where we're keeping things warm and we're keeping things cozy. And today I am so excited. Like, I cannot tell you how unbelievably excited I am to be doing this reading because I have been sitting on this topic for not too long, but it's been simmering for a while and I was like, the next pick a card I do, I have to do this subject. And the subject is, what are your psychic gifts? So I did the reading for myself and I just picked whatever decks I felt called to do, and I don't really have too rough of an outline. We're just going to see what comes through because I feel like all three piles are going to be drastically different, so I don't want to limit the kinds of messages that could come through. But I'm working with some of my all-time favorite decks today. We're going to be looking at what your psychic gifts are, potentially what your journey has looked like, and how it has aided in your gifts, or how your journey will aid in your psychic gifts. And the potential return of these gifts, as well as the next steps in strengthening this gift. So these are our piles here, pre-shuffled. I'm going to shuffle all of the other cards when it comes to your pile, but these are the only oracle cards that are shuffled. This is from the Animal Spirit Guidebook from the Wild Unknown by Kim Krans. The first pile we have here is Citrine. This pile 2, we have Amethyst. Let's see if I can catch it in the right light there. And then for the third pile, we have Lapis Lazuli. Lazuli? I don't know. I feel like I always say it wrong, so I always end up saying it twice. Okay, and as always, pick whichever pile you feel drawn to. You don't have to choose one. You can choose more than one. I know personally, sometimes I feel a lot of energy towards one pile, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, this pile is definitely me, but I also feel a little bit called to other piles sometimes, so you can feel free to watch both. But as always, I recommend that you drop into your heart space, let the dust spiritually, physically, and emotionally settle around and within you so that you can really determine which messages are for you, which messages are for others. So if you would like, I could take you through a guided meditation now. If you already know what you feel called to go ahead and jump to your timestamp. I also marked them with emojis down below. And if the timestamps help you, sometimes people want to choose their lucky numbers, or just whatever numbers they feel drawn to in the moment. That's okay too. But for those of you who feel like you need the extra help, go ahead and turn your awareness. Find like a quiet space to tune in and get grounded. Focus your awareness into your heart space. And then just take note of your breathing wherever you're at. You might be breathing super fast. You might have a quickened heartbeat. You might be breathing super slow. Either way, just notice your breath. Find where you're at. Now we're consciously going to work on slowing it down. So breathe into your chest cavity. Take it all in. Breathe out slow. Again into your chest. Breathe in. And breathe out. We'll focus on pulling that breath, that prana, that life force down into your belly. So past your chest into your belly. So taking a breath in. Feel your belly expand. Exhale. Exhale it all out. Bring your belly button close to your spine, as close as you can. Breathe in. Expand your belly out as slow and deep as you can. You don't have to keep time with me. Exhale. Breathe it in. One more. Breathe in. And out. Okay, and if you so feel called, you can keep your eyes closed. If you would rather not keep them closed and you want to keep them open, you can focus on a certain point. We call that a drishti in yoga. So finding something to rest your gaze softly on while you relax. Tune your awareness into your heart and imagine a bright shining light coming from this center. I like to imagine a green space in my heart because that is the color of compassion. It is the color that is assigned typically to our heart chakra space For some of you, it may be a different color, and that's okay. Pink is another color that is often associated with the heart chakra. Breathing in, imagining that light to be brighter, whether it's a bright white light, green light, whatever it is you want. I imagine a big bright white light in a green space, but for you that could look different. Keep breathing into that space and be aware of this bright shining brighter and brighter. So every time you breathe in, that light is going to get stronger. And every time you breathe out, you're going to cleanse that space. And any like icky particles that you can imagine, just breathing out that stress, that tension, breathing into those parts of your heart space, breathing into any parts of your body with that heart space energy where there's tension, and just letting the love and compassion melt that tension away. With each inhale, bring in that love. And with an exhale, let it all go. All of the ick. Bring in the love. Let go of the ick. Imagine a bubble of light around you. This is a bubble of protection. This is a bubble that is your space, your auric field. You can imagine it as tight or as large as you would like. I like to imagine it a few feet away from me, maybe about like 2 or 3 feet. That's about as big as our auric field is, our energy bubble. And I like to imagine myself encased with golden light. And then call in whatever powers you like to work with, whether that be God, Source, the universe, your higher self, your angels, your guides, Buddha, Virgin Mary, whoever. Call it in. Ask them to be your shining light and to guide you. For me, I call in Archangel Michael to be my shining light of protection. And I'm going to leave this space to say whatever prayer you've made for yourself, or just to speak forward, whatever your intention is for this reading. To get focused and settled. To feel that energetic presence around and within you. You should be able to feel these energies come up from within. For some of you, it's a silent, claircognizant knowing, so understanding that they are with you, just knowing for sure without having any proof. That claircognizant, that clear knowing that they're with you. Some of you may see it clairvoyantly in your mind. Some of you may hear it with your, I guess you can call it a third ear, but clairaudiently. You may hear a word of confirmation. Ask them to guide you. Ask your higher self to guide you. Connect with that inner knowing. Some of you might not sense in these 3 ways, either through knowing, seeing, or hearing. Some of you might have a sensation that reminds you of one of the stones, or for whatever reason you may feel drawn in a particular direction. Sometimes I find that if you're clairsentient, if you're clear feeling, you can hover over each pile, and you don't have to be in person to do this. If you are in a space where you can wave your hand maybe in front of your screen, you may be able to feel through the screen which one feels your pull more. However you determine which pile is yours, which one you are directed to. If you feel directed to more than one, ask what you feel called to listen to first. Then once you find your pull, thank the energies that are with you. Ask them to guide you clearly and strongly through this message. I will ask that whatever I receive from these messages is spoken in such a way that allows me to uplift and empower my audience today. And I'm hoping that I'm giving you guys the guidance that you need, and that you will be able to continue on feeling stronger in yourself, equipped with more knowledge than you had before, something that you can concretely bring forward into the physical so that you can feel stronger in yourselves and more confident that you are on the right path. I love you, I love you, I love you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, angels and guides. And with that, go ahead and jump to your pile. Okay, pile 1 for you, we have citrine. I'm going to give you a close-up look of this stone one more time. That purple glint in the background, I have lots of purple grow lights for my jungle of plants in here, so don't mind the purple glint, but you can see some of the patterns inside of this nicely polished tumbled stone. For those of you who are curious, just because I'm big on, it might not be a part of the message, but I always like to share what the stones do for me and what they, like, their potential spiritual meaning. But citrine is a stone of happiness and joy. It helps it helps bring out that jovial nature, or that childlike nature in us all, and it just helps us connect with that inner state of being, like, in terms of like our abundance. So I always find it to be a very lighthearted stone if I am feeling really down in the dumps and I feel the need to express myself. It could be a good creative stone to express yourselves in a more playful and creative way. I like to take that stone to kind of remind me of my own inner childlike sunshine. Okay, and we're going to look at this oracle card later. First, we're going to dive into the Tarot of Dragons by Shawn MacKenzie. Her work is amazing. This artwork here is beautiful, and it's just written in such a gorgeous way, the guidebook. But I'm going to be intuiting these messages to see what we have for you. So what are your psychic gifts? Okay, I'm just going to sit with these cards for a second and close my eyes and see if anything comes to me. Okay. So what's coming to me before I dive into these cards, if you have 2 sevens, that is an angel, like, it's a strong angelic presences, strong angel numbers. I'm getting that you have strong ancestral energy around you. You have a lot of ancestral spiritual help. Now, a lot of times that we do, but sometimes, like, a lot of people have ancestors around them all the time, guiding us. But for some people, our ancestors are more powerful than others. So a lot of times, okay, so you've probably had challenges with family in this lifetime. And a great part of your spiritual gifts, your psychic gifts, is understanding the many different trials and tribulations that they've given to you. And it's almost like you're learning lessons from that, and that's kind of helping you. Okay, so Spirit's like, try not to feed into the cycle. For some of you, I'm hearing something about like being hungover or something related to alcoholism. If this isn't like necessarily like it feels like a generational thing. So even if you don't, or maybe you do have, you do have like a tendency to go into alcohol a little bit more, but it seems like it might be a generational thing. If not specifically alcohol, it just seems like somebody is a little bit drunk on their power, or maybe somebody just indulges in something in excess, whether it be finances, whether it be some type of substance abuse or something, and then it just kind of bleeds over into the next day where they regret it. Or afterwards, they might regret their decisions. And that's just something that your family line has been struggling with for a while. And it's taken you on quite the adventure, is what I'm hearing. So, specifically in relation to your psychic gifts, this is something that you're actually meant to educate other people with. And you have a lot of ancestors working closely with you to try to break this cycle. So a lot of the psychic gifts that you were given, and I often find that psychic gifts are very closely in line with the spiritual gifts that we've been given. I don't really see that there's much of a difference, because when I say psychic gifts, it doesn't necessarily have to be strong in the different clairs, because the clairs only breach the surface of the kinds of joy that we can spread, in the kinds of talents and skills that we have that we can give to others. Our talents and skills lie way beyond what we do in order, like way beyond communicating with spirit or communicating with things on the other side or tuning into our psychic abilities. It's still there. Like we'll still get into the psychic stuff in a second, but the tarot is showing me a journey. The tarot is showing me that there are many different elements at play with the Seven of Cups here, especially in terms of like your ancestral cycles here. You have a great multitude of things you can work with. Now, and I probably should have mentioned this in the intro, so I will make this clear in every single pile, but well, first of all, okay, sorry, there's something specific coming through for you, but I want to say this first. Hang on, no, spirits are like, okay, I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to try to get back to what I wanted to say to everybody. But don't be afraid of your gifts, okay? If you are watching this, then you probably actually already know. If you're coming here like wanting to confirm, like, am I crazy? Is this really happening? Spirit's saying, first of all, that this is happening. If you come here with knowing that you have a psychic gifts, it's either tormenting you or it's something that you're overwhelmed with. Spirit is like, this is okay. You're meant to learn how to navigate it. And the what might be making it worse or aggravating it is this ancestral cycle that you are meant to look at and to break. Okay. It's become a little bit tough. It's been tough for you. And Spirit is saying, like, you know, you need to rip free from this in order to fully embrace the full scope of your psychic gifts. But as of right now, Spirit's like, we don't want to change where you are. You're meant to move, like, slowly through this process. It's not going to be bam, like you want it to happen, but it's almost like, I want these psychic gifts to manifest fully. I want to understand them, and that's okay. But Spirit's like, when you are ready, it will. Okay? But with the thing that I wanted to mention is that we are all capable of all kinds of psychic gifts. Like, I don't think that, you know, I think we're all capable of mediumship. I believe we're all capable of being Akashic Records readers if we wanted to, that we can all use Reiki. Like, this is not specific to, the psychic abilities are not specific to a certain subset of people, or like, you know, like, oh, like, you know, you had to be born the chosen one is basically what I meant. But like, you don't have to be, like, there's no chosen one. We are all chosen because we choose to be. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know if that makes sense, but we are all, it's kind of like, what they say, like, you're not special. Like, we're all special, of course, but there is nothing that is so specific to a certain group of people, or like certain people who have went through this kind of experience, or blah, blah, blah. And then as a consequence, they now have this psychic gift. Like, we all have psychic gifts. We can all do basically any of these psychic gifts, but in certain people, you might have more of an affinity towards these gifts. So if you're somebody who wants to go into mediumship and you don't feel like you have the power to be a medium, first of all, everybody is capable of being a medium, first of all. I only throw that out there because I myself am a medium, but not everybody, like talking to dead people, just isn't always everybody else's vibe. And that's okay. Like, if you so choose, you can, though. Okay, that's just an example. But, you know, if you wanted to astral project or anything, that's there too. But the Seven of Cups is telling me that you actually have, like, a lot of different, like, you have a lot of different cups at your disposal. You have a lot of different talents at your disposal. You have many different areas of study that you might be interested in, because the Seven of Cups is all about options. And I see them all being drastically different. I mean, I'm trying to get, like, specifics. I feel like astral projection might actually be one of them. I don't know. I just keep hearing something about, there's something really heavy in this energy about recovering. I don't know if it's specifically recovering from alcoholism or recovering, like, from the family line, like something about recovering from a hangover. I don't really know what that's about, but apply that how you see fit. But it appears like whatever these psychic gifts are, it's something that is imperative, like, for you moving forward. In terms of, like, understanding what they are, you need to work through your trauma before you fully drop into this psychic space, okay? You have the Seven of Pentacles here. Let me sit with this one for a second. Okay, so I'm getting that, okay. The Seven of Pentacles is about reassessing, but I keep hearing, like, the seasons of love. Measure your life in love. But I keep hearing that, like, you need to measure your life in you need to measure your life differently, because it's almost like your feelings of self-worth or your self-doubt, it's almost in a pitying fashion, like it's like you're pitying yourself because of like the crimes committed by your family or the crimes that you yourself committed. I don't know why specifically crimes is coming through. You might have committed crimes, or you might have felt like, I guess from a religious standpoint, you can say that you felt like you've sinned, or you felt like you're doing something wrong. But Spirit is saying that, measure your life from the good moments, not necessarily all of the turmoil that you've been through, because if you sit in that turmoil from the past, then that creates that turmoil here in the present, and the future hasn't happened yet. But if you constantly are creating turmoil in your present and ruminating over past issues and past circumstances that were negative, trying to figure out how to fix them or how to work through them, then you're not going to create any more fond memories. It's just going to be, all of the ick, and you will just forever be creating all of these icky memories just because that's the headspace that you're in. But Spirit is saying that once you start measuring your life in love, you will really start to embrace these gifts of yours, okay? And it just overall leads to your happiness. There has been some disappointment with the Five of Cups. And while it's almost like Spirit's like, you kind of need to educate yourself and figure out, like, and not, this isn't me being like, oh, like, you're not smart enough to blah, blah, blah. Like, that has nothing to do with it. But Spirit is saying there are better ways to go about how you are going about things. So, and that's mainly only, like, it's more like a self-help or self-development type of thing. Like, if you are an individual who feels called, I never want to throw anybody under the bus and say, oh, you need therapy, but I find therapy to be very beneficial, even if you're somebody who, feels like they quote unquote have their shit together. I don't really know what that looks like myself, but if, like, I think therapy could benefit everybody if they are given the right therapists and the right tools, and I don't believe that every therapist is for every single person. I think that's definitely a certain kind of, you have to put in different energy to get out there. And, it's kind of like, I wouldn't say it's as selective as, online dating, or it's as selective as going out and trying to find friends in the real world. But I'm hearing something about escapism, and there are better ways to cope with your situation other than trying to avoid and to escape and indulging in behaviors that feel like for me, it was maladaptive daydreaming, where I would just plug in my headphones and listen to music for hours and hours and hours, to the point where I would get lost, like, in terms of time. Like, I would lose track of time. I would skip meals and I wouldn't realize it. I would just get so into this world because it felt so much better imagining scenes in my head for the stories I wanted to write than actually living my life. And it actually became a problem because I did it so often. And that's just one example, like I said. But that would be a form of escapism, not wanting to deal with your reality. And Spirit is almost saying, like, your gifts have either come to fruition already, or you're kind of in the middle of this right now, or it's something that you've just went through. I feel like you're kind of going through it now, like you're in like a recovery stage. But it's almost like you went through the journey of assessing where you're at, where you would like to be, and you've been exposed to this disappointment. So Spirit's trying to be a source of comfort for you, because 10 of Cups is here, and your Spirit's like, you're sitting on a gold mine. So you actually have like a whole log of amazing positive experiences that you don't actually flip through. Like, for whatever reason, they're showing me a book of all of these different positive experiences that you've had, but you're actually not, like, it's like they're showing me, it looks like a new book, like a pristine book, and I don't know why it's coming through this way. I don't know if these are just recent positive experiences that you've accumulated that you haven't, that maybe you've taken for granted and not looked closely at enough, or if it's something that, like, if the book of all of these positive experiences is looking so new because you haven't touched it and you haven't been looking at it. Either way, I feel like not enough attention has been given to all of these wonderful things in your life, because the 10 of Cups is filled to the brim with nothing but strong, pleasurable, life, like, I don't even want to say life fulfilling. I don't know. That doesn't make sense. Emotionally fulfilling moments. Like, you've had things that have filled up all of your cups and made you feel alive. So reflecting back on those moments, I think, is going to be like your, how do I want to say, your that's going to be, it's like your anchor. the thing that you can cling to help you get through all of this. But if you haven't gotten to this point already, because you have basically all cups in this reading, you have all cups in this reading. So you've been through something emotionally challenging, and I feel like you are a very strong and emotionally resilient soul. Okay, because you've come out at the end with the King of Cups. Now this is either on the way, or this is like, okay, you're capable of so much more. Spirit is saying you are so capable that but you're not even aware of it, because the Sire of Cups, he is basically like the King of Cups in this deck, the Sire. The King of Cups is meant to teach others. So whatever this brutal thing is, I feel like this is something, let me roll the Astro dice to be sure, but this is actually something like, Spirit's telling me to take care of like how I share this message. But the amazing thing about this is that it's almost like caring for yourself and learning to care for yourself is going to help the surrounding people in your life. You're meant to be a positive influence for them. So a lot of your gifts when you came to this world have been to teach others how to navigate their emotional world. However you decide to use that. And again, like I said, I feel like whatever psychic gifts you choose to, like, it's like you comprehend a lot of this. I feel like this is like all of this, like this journey that I'm showing you, like you already know this, you've already lived through it. But the Sire of Cups here is saying like you have a lot, it's almost like you have a lot of emotional baggage. I mean, we all do, but you carry this super strong weight that you can use almost like a tool. I don't want to say a weapon, but you use it so wisely. You can use it so wisely to teach others. And I don't know, like that's kind of all I'm getting with that. You have the Moon, Virgo, and you have the 11th house here. The 11th house is close relationships in terms of friendships. It could be your social circles. The 11th house is kind of like the sphere of the people around you and the surrounding community. And the Moon is your intuition. So you do have a strong inner knowing. So because this is all such an emotionally heavy reading, I would say that your greatest strength, your greatest psychic gift would be in your clairsentience. I feel like Spirit might communicate with you in a different way, but when your feelings are clear, like your feelings show you the way. Spirit's saying we're showing you the way through your emotions. Because you have been through so much, you've had to tune into yourself quite a lot. And escapism isn't necessarily bad, but because I see on the cards that you've had the tendency to do this, this is telling me that your spirit was trying to, your spirit cared so much about how you were feeling that you developed a way to get away from what felt too overwhelming and overbearing for you, and that was your source of nourishment. Whatever this escapism tactic was, I don't want escapism to be viewed as such like an awful thing to do, just because I've done it and it served me so well in certain circumstances. It's just, it was done in excess, and I think that escapism can be done in other ways, but it's showing how much you care for yourself and you care enough about yourself. I know this is like a weird twisted way of saying this, like I would never push anyone towards any kind of substance abuse or anything, but I am all for trying to see the good in everything, and at least you care enough about yourself to want to do better for yourself and to say, this energy in my life is not working for me, so I'm trying to do something different to make me feel good. So there's that. But Spirit is saying in order to move forward, there's something about this that hurts my heart though. So I feel like, again, Spirit's like, you know, be careful about how you deliver that. And I just don't really know of any other way to deliver that. Sorry, Spirit. But, and again, I don't want to push anyone towards any type of substance abuse or anything that could physically hurt you. But I do want to say that view it in such a way where not to excuse the behavior, because I think we're always fighting to change ourselves. We always want to do better for ourselves. And I fully encourage you that if you know you're doing something that is hurting your body or they're going to hurt you in the long term, that you actively take steps to try to change that. Just know that you care enough about yourself to do that. So then try to think bigger. It's almost like Spirit wants you to move the magnifying glass maybe a little bit farther, or maybe swap out and give it like a bigger magnifying glass. Look at the slightly bigger picture now. Because oftentimes the methods that we use to escape are like short term, in the moment. This is going to give me immediate gratification, but it's not actually going to help like in the long term. But if you like zoom out just a little bit more and take baby steps towards that, and Spirit's saying the way you can do that is focusing on the things that bring you joy so that you don't have to escape so often into these things. So again, with the moon being, you have a strong intuition through your feelings specifically. And it's interesting because Virgo's coming out. Virgo is the sign of self-care. Virgo is the sign of self-care, of taking care of ourselves, making sure our needs are met. So, excuse me. Woo! Get a drink of water. Wow. So making sure that your needs are met. You're somebody who, because through this, maybe this is why this has come up, because, and again, the citrine is about embracing that joy, getting into that childlike love for things, and viewing things in a more lighthearted way. So appreciate what you've done up until this point. Don't shame yourself for it, but appreciate that you've tried to take care of yourself, even though you realize in hindsight, oh, that's probably a mistake. It's probably best for me not to do that. Just know that you worked with what you knew at the time, and try not to shame yourself for it, because shame doesn't do anything but create all this negative energy around something. And it's a very disheartening thing. I don't really find it necessary very often. I think it is like, it hinders us more than it helps us. I do think that every emotion has its place. So feel your feelings to the very depths of your soul, but don't wallow in all of that negative feelings and all of that shame. Okay. But tending to your needs, making sure that you are receiving the right kind of, the right kind of care for yourself. And then seeing that reflect in your friendships as well. So once you start taking care of yourself, you will start to see that your social circles might seem brighter. It's like an exchange of energy. So I often find that when you feel depleted or when you are not feeling at your best, yes, friends and loved ones around you can help lift you up. But when your exchange is always you feeling down and out, then the exchange doesn't really come across as like the exchange might not help you as much. So again, sometimes our friends do help us lift ourselves up and make us feel really good. But if they are constantly trying to lift us up, that balance is off. And Spirit is saying the more you take care of yourself, and if you lean on your intuition to determine what it is that you need to do next. But making sure that your needs are met, that you're taking care of your physical needs in particular, and trying not to punish yourself physically for the emotions that you feel, or for the emotions, especially for the emotions of people around you, because that is a weight that we should not take. But I know some of us are in situations that we feel that we can't control, that we feel like we can't escape, and other people try to bring us down. That is a reality that a lot of us often face. And sometimes, whether it be our family, whether it's our parents or our siblings, or whether it be outside the home, like our coworkers in a job that we're not ready to leave yet, or we love our job, but it's just some of the people around us might not have our best interest at heart. Either way, however you view it, take care of your physical needs. And your physical needs and your emotional needs and your spiritual needs, they all work in tandem with one another. So making sure that you're taking care of all of those spheres will help lift you up more and help shed some light on where it is that you need to go. But anyway, psychic gift. Biggest psychic gift of yours is following your emotions. There's so much that comes through with your emotional state that it might feel like it's kind of like if you're somebody who doesn't feel very connected to your psychic gifts, it might be because there's a lot of emotional stuff in the way, and working through and parsing out some of that energy, usually that leads to the most powerful psychic gifts. I will say sometimes the heavier the trauma and the heavier all of that shit, the more your psychic gifts are going to come through, because you've been through a profound amount of emotional development. And it's often that awareness, that tuning into the awareness of ourselves, that's what's necessary oftentimes for our psychic gifts to manifest. Okay? Because we are being so aware of ourselves, we are aware of the more subtle natures of our being. Okay, we have OMG, we have raccoon, and I love raccoon because the spirit animal of the raccoon, you are an artistic soul. It doesn't necessarily have to be paintbrush on a canvas, but somebody who is very strong in their creative abilities. Either that or you have a talent that you are not sharing with the world because the raccoon is in hiding. I just heard it's a little stuffy in here. So you've had something on the inside for quite a while. Either it's a story or a piece of work or something that you've been needing to get out or express into the open. Whatever that is. And whether it's poetry, like they're giving me kind of an example of somebody who's been through a really hard time and somebody wants to write a song or a poem to express themselves that way. Spirit's encouraging you to do that because it's been sitting in there long enough, or the energy is becoming so big within, it's actually telling you, we're getting stuffy in here. We need to come out. Like stuffiness is like, okay, it's too cramped, so you have like a lot, like this energy is taking up a lot of space within, and it's also been in there for far too long. When it gets stuffy, the energy is stale, and it's like, like I've been sitting in here for a while, so the raccoon spirit is dying. It's like begging you to release that creative work. And typically when a raccoon spirit pops up, it is the start or the creation of a new project. So a lot of your psychic gifts, the things that you've been through, makes manifest in your work of art. Okay, let's see what else we have going on here. But yeah, we have some creators in the house here. Spark! Ah! What did I just say? Ah! Okay, this is amazing. So, I love, love, love this card because it is quite literally following what lights you up. Following that inner spark. And the greatest thing, I don't know, it's just like, I love that it's like, this is like my artist's card in this deck. So that's why I'm like geeking out that you have this card. So this is literally expressing yourself in its many art forms. And quite literally, so I'm seeing actually through your creative nature, oftentimes imagination and like psychic like abilities are so closely ingrained because the psychic play in the realm of imagination. This psychic energy, just when we receive our information, you may actually receive spiritual information through your flow. Through your flow, whether you are writing music, whether you are jotting things down and you're a writer, whether you are painting something. Sometimes, like, and I think I shared this in a previous video, but I'm a writer myself. So oftentimes I found that when I was younger, before I had even awakened, before I was even talking to spirit or anything, I would oftentimes, through my writing, predict future events without realizing it. And then when I look back on previous stories, I'm like, oh my God, that actually happened like years later. And it would be some off the wall stuff, right down to the initials, right to like the initials that I would use in some stories. Just the places where like my characters would work. I found that either I worked there or people that were close to me worked at those places, and they ended up being like a big part of my life. So oftentimes, like, I would just predict shit, and I didn't even realize I was doing that. So depending on how you're a bit, like, it's very exciting because if you're somebody who, like, your psychic information is coming through your creative flow. Some of you may even find that you could talk to spirits that way. I know that when I was a kid, I also used to do, like, I would have conversations in my head and I would write them down, but I thought that they were different characters that I was creating in my head. Now that I'm more into spirit communication and I'm studying it more, I'm like, oh my God, I think I was just talking to spirits growing up and I didn't realize it. So it can manifest in so many different ways. There really is no limit to the different ways that spirit can reach you because we are spirit. So again, it doesn't have to be mediumship. It can be just receiving psychic information. It could be even like, there's so much stuff. Like if you're a writer, you can channel past lives without realizing it. I would channel spirits that I knew already without realizing it. I would write about, I guess, people that I've known in previous lives because they've come to me and said, hey, like, you know, like, you wrote me in a story. And then they would say, but you never published it. And I'd be like, oh, well. But I get that a lot. I get that often. But anyway, let's see. I'm not as familiar with this deck, so I will pull the book on it. This is one of my newer decks, but I'm still very excited to use it. It's another Kyle Gray deck. This one's called the Gateway of Light Activation Oracle. And this one is Pleiadian activation, coming together, harmony in the heavens, resolution. So I'm gonna, oh my God, did you see that? I just opened it up to the book. Oh, that's amazing. This is a very strong pile, by the way. This is a very strong, like, I heard you have a clever use of like your language or your words. So some of you could actually be writers. Some of you are, I don't know, there's just something very clever about the way that you are going about your life. Like you're needing to be creative about certain things, and damn, you're like really good at it. Spirit's like, this is a clever person. So I don't know. But anyway, coming from this book, it says, coming together, harmony in the heavens, resolution. The Pleiades, also known as the Seven Sisters, is an open star cluster found in the northwest of the constellation Taurus. These bright blue luminous stars, which formed in the last 100 million years, are among the stars closest to Earth and are the cluster most obvious to the naked eye. It is for this reason that they have been connected to many spiritual traditions through the ages. This gateway transports us to a place where we can witness the great coming together of the Pleiades. Each and every single star within the cluster is representative of a nation of divine beings. The Pleiadians are said to be human-like beings who honor the feminine and live in an advanced way that we on Earth could also experience if we were open to accept and honor the holiness of the female body. If we were able to travel to the Pleiades in the third dimensional world, we would not find these beings, however, for they have transcended the physical state and operate on a higher vibration. So in order to connect, find the Pleiades in the night sky or look at an image online, then say, "Great Pleiadian guides, thank you for showing me how to heal the matriarchal line and honor the feminine so that I can support a more balanced and evolved form of existence." The message here is Pleiadian energy is about to come together in peace and in harmony. You are blessed to receive this gateway, for it is a powerful message of assurance that whatever uncomfortable energy you are experiencing right now will soon be washed away. The Pleiadians are beings who live in complete honor of their planets and their people. They acknowledge that in seeing and connecting with one another, they have an opportunity to see and experience the divine. They also know the consequences of disrespecting others. It's for this reason that this is no longer possible for them. If you are being challenged by loved ones now, aim to shift the dynamics of this relationship through a loving approach. The lesson you are facing at this time is an opportunity to heal old wounds and operate from a higher state of being. So this does work with matriarchal energy. It doesn't necessarily have to be with your mom in general, but this is, again, this feeling of ancestral work coming through. So even if it's from like a different side of the family, there's just something here about ancestral energy that's just coming through strong that I can be sure of. We'll see what else. We'll see what else is coming through. This one specifically is going to be the next steps to strengthening this gift. I'm going to pull from the Mediumship training deck. You don't have to be a medium in order to take this advice, because there's just so many things in here that psychically we can use. So the next steps, other than expressing yourself, because the thing is, all I'm thinking when I read this, the only thing that is being channeled through to me, like the following message, so that'll strike with you if that is a message that resonates with you. I'm feeling like maybe there is a story or there's some type of emotional expression that you need to get out through creative works. And remember how I said that once you do that, your psychic gifts will strengthen. This is actually something that I relate to as well. This isn't my reading because I already did my reading, but I just as an example, once you start, your psychic gifts may start to come through. And it doesn't necessarily have to show up in your work. So for example, I talk to spirits on the other side. And I know that a part of my work is to write a book about my spiritual awakening. And I find that when I actively sit to take the time to make any sort of progress on it, when I put that energy in there, it is thrumming in my body. It makes me feel alive. I find myself getting like excited, not even with the racing heartbeat, but literally it brings the blood in my veins, my bones, like everything feels lighter. Maybe it is adrenaline kicking in, I don't know, but something lights up throughout my whole body when I'm approaching something that I know is part of my mission, or that I know is something that I've been longing to create for a long time and I've been putting off. And then that night, my psychic gifts would get stronger. This is no matter when I approach this or how I approach this. If I sink energy into my craft, the spirits come through sounding stronger to me. That is my gift in communicating with the other side. For you, it may look different. For you, another gift may get stronger. But that's just an example of how it may manifest. This one is, oh my gosh, sharing with the collective. So for you, next steps in strengthening this gift. Be of service. When you are called to awaken the medium within, or the psychic within, whichever you want to be medium, it's also a calling to devote your life to a work of service. It is truly an honor and a blessing to serve Spirit. If you hold an open and pure heart, the blessings from Spirit in return will be bountiful and endless. This path should only be seen as a blessing and never a burden. The journey of development is not always easy or rewarding, but in serving Spirit from your heart, you'll be blessed with grace and support along your path, as Spirit will always be there for you. If this card is calling you, then it's time to start practicing what it means to be of service to you. Take time today to offer a random act of kindness, to volunteer for a cause that speaks to your heart, or to simply give a hug to someone you feel needs one. In serving those here in the living world, you're serving those in the spirit world. Remember that the main goal for Spirit is to bring healing, love, and light to the living. Ooh, I just got the chills from that. I don't know why. Whew. The spirit world will also love and support your compassion and kind work in the most unusual ways. Look for the beautiful blessings and signs from Spirit with gratitude, as it's Spirit's way to let you know you're moving in the right direction. So whatever you can do to be of service now, please take it if you so feel called. And last but not least, I'm going to roll the angel dice for you. As always, this is how I'd be closing out my shit. You know it. Let's see. 710. The power of God is within you. Spiritual experiences are unfolding for you and supporting your expansion in the world. Again, you don't have to resonate with the Christian God. I view, replace God as universe. You know, it's subject to your interpretation, however you view it. And I always read these messages twice. So the power of God is within you. Spiritual experiences are unfolding for you and supporting your expansion in the world. So allow that to unfold at whatever pace it is for you. I'm hearing the word patience. So be patient as your gifts are manifesting. Be patient with yourself. It may take time to develop these gifts. This is they're telling me it's a marathon, not a sprint. So this isn't something that's going to happen for you overnight, but this is something that you are slowly going to be working towards. This is something, it's like the ever unfolding rose here. That's from a completely different deck. I don't know why it's coming up, but in order to reach the deepest, darkest depths, in order to bring out the most beautiful in yourself, you need to be cracked open. And I feel like you've been through all of these like extreme measures. You've been like through the cracking basically. Now allow yourself to break open because the world needs you open. Okay, that is what I have for you, pile one, my beautiful citrine pile. Thank you so much for tuning in, for allowing me to connect with your energy. And thank you to your spirit angels, your guides, anybody who you've summoned in to help, you've called in to help and help channel that energy. Thank you for allowing me to read for you, and thank you to my team with all of the grace and love in the world. I bless you on your path. I love you, I love you, I love you. Try not to rush it. As they said, it's a marathon, not a sprint. If this resonated with you in any way, go ahead and like and subscribe, all the things. Leave a comment below. Let me know if how this resonates with you, if it does. And I'm always a fan of resources, so if you have a book that you've read or if you have a podcast that you listen to, definitely feel free to drop it down in the comment section below to not only share with me, but to share with this beautiful and wonderful community that we are cultivating here together. Because I don't know, I am a never-ending studier, and I just love to see what everybody's digging into in terms of like the spiritual and the metaphysical and all of that. So I love you, I love you, I love you, and I'll see you next time, y'all. Bye. All right, pile two, this one, you chose the amethyst. I'm going to show it to you one more time. Don't mind the purple light in the background. I have a lot of purple lights for my girl lights. Okay, we're going to set this off in the corner. We're going to set this oracle card off to the side. We're not quite going to look at it just yet. And I'm going to pull tarot first. So as I'm pulling, I do want to say that we are all capable of all different types of psychic gifts. It is not meant for a specific subset. I should have mentioned this in the intro, so I'm going to mention it in every single pile. But essentially, this reading is just to show you what are the gifts that you tend to gravitate towards, or what gifts are strongest in you. Anybody can cultivate these types of gifts. We're just going to see what is going to come out right now, how they would manifest. maybe where it started. Let's see. Whoa, you got a lot of energy coming out. So I'm just gonna put the rest of these back in. Oh, okay. So let me sit with this reading for a little bit, meditate and see if anything comes to me before we dive deep into each card. Let me put them up so you can actually see them though. Places. So, wow. So there's, first of all, there's a lot of tough energy in this pile. Wow. Damn. Okay. First I will say, amethyst, this doesn't necessarily have to relate to the pile, but I always like to give a little bit of a description of each crystal that I use. Specifically amethyst, it's a very popular stone. It's used for the third eye a lot as third eye opening, third eye balancing. It does help strengthen intuition. It does promote a sense of calm and peace. As I said, it's super popular stone. It could be like a dream stone, so you can put it under your pillow and have more vivid dreams. Specifically, it can help you connect with your intuition during your dreamland. So if you're somebody, like if you're a dream walker, I don't know why I said it like a dream walker, but lucid dreaming is something that you could be quite capable of, or something that has gauged your interest over the years, and something that you want to dabble in, or something that you've already dabbled in, and something that you've experimented with. That can actually help turn some of this energy around, because it seems like, I don't know if some of you are just have nightmares, and maybe you wanted to pursue lucid dreaming specifically so that you can, you know, arrange something different in your dreams. But your dreamscape is meant to share something with you, so I feel like you do have messages in your dreams, so listening to your dreams is going to be very important. Also, you may have the psychic gift of being able to sense energy in different places. Now, this could be so much as walking into a room and knowing when conflict has happened and wanting to say, nope, and wanting to nope out of there quickly because you don't really want to expose yourself to that. Or you might sense energy of different people. Specifically with you, I'm getting places. So cemeteries might feel a little off to you. You might actually feel different energies when you're going into temples or churches, if you've ever been on those types of grounds. Anything that has, like, it's like the placement of them. There's something, it's like, they're telling me, Spirit's like something, there's something about time and place that's very important. So, maybe if you've been to these places, you weren't really able to feel them before. But there's something about, like, I don't know if you can, like, sense the history of these places. Like, maybe you find yourself drawn to haunted locations, or maybe you don't want to go to haunted locations for the purpose of, like, just for the reasoning that you feel the energy there, and either you seek it out because you're intrigued, or you don't seek it out because you know the effect that it has on you. But either way, there's something about sensing places here. Now, I see you as being somebody who may want to travel to certain places that are of strong spiritual interest. So specifically in the US, I'm thinking like Sedona, Arizona. That's meant to be like, that's like one of the most, from my understanding, like heavy spiritual centers, at least of the States. I also feel like Lilydale in New York is a place that might pique your interest as well. It's something about like spiritual centers. You might feel called to traverse certain planes in Europe, Egypt, India specifically. A lot of people go on spiritual journeys, like in their own spiritual awakenings. They navigate it like by like either backpacking in India or going to certain gurus or something. But either way, there's something about spiritual locations or different locations that could unlock spiritual information for you. I've never been to these places, and I've never read up on these types of things, so I can't speak too much on those things. Personally, I know I'm meant to travel to Egypt, which is not, I don't know why I'm pointing at the Hierophant, because that's not Egypt, but at least I'm pretty sure it's not. I think it's in South America, I'm not sure, but either way, there are some places, like, you might feel drawn to certain places, and that might be a part of your spiritual journey, is to go to these places because they are meant to unlock certain information for you. Or maybe you find yourself by a pool of water. Specifically, water is very important to you. You can go there to balance, you can go there to regenerate your energy. There's something very calming about either a river, a lake, a sea, ocean, just some type of body of water that's going to help you connect. And that's going to help you feel, it's like a feeling of safety. And it helps connect with your guidance system more. So that water is very important as well. And interestingly enough, yeah, you have, like, this whole reading is cushioned by 5s. So there's a lot of conflict here. So let's just get into this for a second so I can read these cards properly. In terms of your psychic gifts, you have the 5 of Cups. 5 of Cups is typically read as disappointment. Let me, like, meditate on this a little bit so I can try to read the 5 of Cups a little better. Oh. Wow. That's a little bit of a heavy... I did not get that when I initially got this card. So I'm hearing... somebody's telling me that you've witnessed people lose their lives. That could mean in the physical sense, and if that's the case, I'm very sorry. It seems like, or maybe you're somebody who, maybe if you haven't bore witness to death, there's somebody who has a lot of death or has dealt with a lot of death. And if that's not the case, I don't know. There's something here about death that's just coming through. Especially with that 10 of Swords card being strong. Spirit's saying you're a very brave soul for going through everything that you've done. Everything that you've did, or like everything that you've experienced, rather. You've come a very long way. Let me keep like sifting through so I can piece this together here. The Knight of Cups. Saving yourself when necessary. So this is kind of what your journey has been looking like. Maybe you've witnessed people who their deaths might not have been related to their own, like their deaths might not have been caused by their own doing. But they might have lived lives that, you know, did not reach their full potential, or like maybe they've been tragically lost, or something about they did not achieve certain things that they wanted. And it was, every death is tragic, but it's almost like the circumstances surrounding some of these people or these energies, whether it be one, whether it be many, it almost seems more like the circumstances are adding more tragedy to it. And instead of wallowing in that, you've had to save yourself from certain trips through guilt, specifically through certain heavy turmoil that your circumstances have given you through life in relation to this loss of life or this loss of vibrancy in another's life. But you've had to save yourself. I see you grabbing the things that you truly love and care about the most, either within yourself, or within someone else, or just there's something here about grabbing everything that you care about, the most essential, and fleeing, or getting out of, like, either you're getting out of an emotional situation or you're getting out of a physical situation that might not have been the greatest for you or something. It's almost like remembering these people, you're trying to remember them well, or you remember them well, but you need to, like, you've packed up your things and you've made the efforts to move on. But the 10 of Swords in this deck speaks about, I don't know, the Knight of Cups is looking for something. For whatever reason, I see him as fleeing something, or like grabbing what's important to him and leaving, in efforts to live his life, because it kind of corresponds with the Ten of Swords. So I'm just going to jump actually into the Ten of Swords, because I see these dragons basically doing the same thing. Ten of Swords is somebody who has been through a great deal of loss, a great deal of heavy energy, and they are the lone survivor. Or in this card, it feels like they are the only survivor, that you are the only one that is able to carry on like a legacy. You're the only one to carry on this story, that you've been left behind to deal with the weight of this burden, of all of this loss. Now, you're being called to move forward if you haven't already. This is something that you've had to make movements towards already with the Nine of Cups here, but the Ten of Swords is about, you know, despite all of this pain and sorrow, there is still a need to move forward. Ten of Swords is more about strength than it is about loss, even though a great deal of our attention is drawn to the skeleton and the bones and all the knives down below. This is something that, this card is all about strength. Spirit wants you to focus on the strength that this has brought you and the strength that you have to continue onwards. The Hierophant here. The Hierophant is a teacher card. We teach others not only that which they do not know, but we teach others how to, who are afraid to handle these matters, we teach them how to do that through our own experiences. This is something that you're actually very knowledgeable about, like whether it be loss, or I don't know, I just feel like whatever this loss or this heavy energy is, this is something that you have experienced and you can teach others with this. Pile 1 actually had something very similar, dealing with emotional trauma and then having to channel it in some form. The Hierophant is like you're being a teacher. You're being a teacher. You might actually be a teacher if you're not a teacher or in an education field. This is something that you are meant to share just in your daily life, in your waking life. You don't have to compromise the joyous parts of your day in order to teach, if it's still a struggle for you to engage with this energy. Because I do see Five of Wands here. I do see a struggle. Like, this is energy that's still unsettled. Like, you're still working through these deaths or these losses of the people that you knew. Or, I want to stretch and say it's the loss of yourself, but I really just feel like it's just dealing with death in general. And there's just a lot of mixed feelings that need to be worked through here with the Five of Wands. In terms of your psychic gifts, feeling the energy of these different places, and again, for some of you, it is feeling the energy of graveyards or cemeteries. But I just see you as, you know, traveling to help ease this ache. If that's something within your means and something that you're able to do. If not, you can learn about different parts of the world. But I would definitely try to save up and gather the means to go to a place that you feel called to. I feel like this is a pile. Witchcraft is coming to mind. So you might be somebody who does a lot of candle work, a lot of spells, or works with herbs, or very into the witchy side of things. So that could also be of some solace, something that you can work with as well. But there's just something here about conflicting energies. Maybe you have a lot of different energies that you are feeling, so it's hard to stay focused and aligned with the light. Let's see what your Astro dice say. Okay, so yeah, a lot of it might be dealing with fears. I don't really like to see Mars and Scorpio together, only because it's aggressive. And, you know, when we get the Five of Cups and the Five of Wands with the Ten of Swords in the middle, it just feels like there's a lot of fears to deal with, especially in relation to family, generational trauma. The fourth house is specifically home and family. So this could actually be aggression in the family. This could be a death in your family that you're dealing with, and a lot of fears associated with that death. But there's something here about, like, maybe you are quite literally a medium, and or you are learning to communicate with the dead, but communicating with the dead might actually be a struggle if you have loss. If you have loss in your life, then you understand how important it is some of us would understand how important it is for other people to have closure. So being a medium for you might actually, like, some of you do have mediumistic, I don't want to say mediumistic tendencies. Some of you are a medium, like you are a medium. You do talk to the dead. Like, you talk to energies on the other side too. And a lot of it is fighting through your fears and dealing with all of these different other energies on the other side that could come across as aggressive, or you have these aggressive feelings that are coming forward in your fears. Now, oftentimes there's just so much to talk about with this stuff and with mediumship. So I want to be careful as to how much I get into it, because I could talk about it for hours and I don't want your reading to be hours long. But essentially, you know, everybody always talks about protection, and all this other stuff. But first of all, the thing that's coming to mind is forgiveness. So it's important, especially if you want to work with the other side, engage with your psychic and mediumistic nature, then you need to be aware that forgiveness is going to be an essential part of the process. And that is more for your benefit than for anybody else's, just so you can achieve like an equal, or like a, not even an equal, but like a more balanced energy, so that you can actually work with spirit. Because it's hard to work with spirit when you have all of these fears and all of this aggravated trauma in the way. And spirit's gonna force you, as somebody who is a medium, my spiritual awakening was extremely rough, to the point where I ended up in a crisis center because I was not able to deal with, it wasn't specifically this situation, but I wasn't really able to deal with a lot of my fears and a lot of the things, like a lot of the energies that kept talking back at me. I kept being told that these different spirits that were talking to me, it was training, it was like, I needed to learn to put up boundaries and to say no. I needed to learn how to deal with my fear of, like, for whatever reason, okay, I'm trying to speak a different story because it's not my story. This story right here, like, this is what I'm channeling right now. I'm trying to say my own example, but whatever reason, this story is overlapping. For whatever reason, so Mars means so much more than just aggression, but for whatever is coming through, I do feel like it's like some type of generational physical abuse or physical trauma, some type of aggression, or maybe just hardcore yelling or something. It doesn't have to be physical, but it's just some strong, passionate aggression coming through, and it might be whatever energy is coming through is aggressive. And it might not be in the form of a loved one that has passed if they were aggressive in this life, but there is something here that is trying to help you work through your fears if you are somebody that has been exposed to an aggressive past or an aggressive childhood. Specifically, you're needing to work through your fears with that, work through your fears with the other side and the unknown, and dealing with all of the conflicting feelings that comes with the loss of somebody else. Because once you figure out how to navigate that, and once you work through that, that is actually going to help open your gifts a lot more and help you see more of the light. And that's kind of what I was getting at. Like, in my story, that's what I had to do. I had to, like, it's just what we all have to learn. It's what we all have to go through when we encounter loss, especially when there's so much that needs, you know, closure. There's so much that needs, like, you know, there were so many things that we needed to say that weren't said, and now we have to deal with, you know, somebody having space in our lives and then being gone. And oftentimes, you know, mediums understand because they've lost someone too. And there's just, there's so much crap. I'm not even going to try to get into it all. But, yeah. Hey, medium fam. So let's see what else we got going on here. Let's pull this card. Let's flip it over. You have Tiger. I'm actually going to read from Tiger because Tiger is like a, I can't think of it off the top of my head. So let me just double check and make sure that I know what I'm talking about before I start yapping. Lunar force, ease in darkness, feminine energy. The tiger hunts at night, at one with the silence, fearing nothing. This card reminds us to take in the wild darkness, to allow the lunar forces to soothe and heal our spirits. Sensuality, receptivity, and devotion are all heightened in the midnight hour, and the tiger takes advantage of these boons. Spend some time in silence this evening, drinking in the potent calm. There is nothing to fear in the stillness except the awakening of your own power. When in balance, passionate, strong, and sensual. When out of balance, You're overstimulated. To bring into balance, Chataka, which is candle gazing. So gazing into that fire. So specifically with this card, with the tiger, we see that, like, you know, perhaps your abilities are stronger at night. Maybe you actually work with the moon as well, because it's the lunar feminine energy. So you may be somebody that works with the phases of the moon. Maybe you do like witchy things when the moon comes around, like new moon and full moon. Maybe you work with that. But if you're not, and you've been feeling called to, this is kind of your message from spirit to like get on it, so that you can get more balanced, because we are cyclic beings, and I think some of us lean more into those cycles than others. Some of us need, like we require certain routines throughout the day, and we need that every day, all day. And then others, you know, we go in cycles. We put in a lot of effort, and then we rest for a period of time, and then we go out, and we just, everything is just happening in cycles. I find that I move with the phases of the moon, so that works for me. Some people move with different time periods in the sun, so that could be a big help for you too, is just noting those astrological energies, doing your witchcraft stuff during that time, and also understand that when you work with the dead, they are more active at night. I don't even want to call them dead, because they're not dead. Like, they're just transitioned into a different state of consciousness. They're more aware, but they're always here. They're here, they're aware, and they're helping. So it's just a matter of being able to view those energies in a positive way, so that you can receive loving and empowering information. Okay, so that's definitely a skill. It's one that is not meant to be taken lightly, but obviously you were given this gift for a reason. Spirit, God, universe, whatever you call it, they would not give you this gift without reason. And they won't give you anything that you can't handle. You have One Ring Circus. You got a lot going on right now. One Ring Circus is about manning the whole thing. There's chaos everywhere, and you are the ringleader. It might feel like everything is out of control, but somehow you are kind of like the puppeteer with all of the strings, and it seems like you might pull something one way, but it doesn't actually go that way. It goes the other way. And you're like, well, what the heck? What's the use of these strings? It's ridiculous. It's annoying. Like, I feel like I can't do anything. Release your need to control the situation. Release your need to control anything right now, because it's so volatile. There's just so much chaos around. Spirit's asking you to settle into your space. There is noteworthy abundance coming in, the specific words that's coming to mind. But you need to allow some of this to happen. It's almost like be a neutral observer to all of this chaos, and try to seize the things that you can control, but don't try to hyper focus on them, because it's all a balance. Okay, so the thing that you can control is your reaction. And what I love is that in the One Ring Circus, there is an elephant here, and the elephant is my main spirit animal. So I know an awful lot about the elephant, and it's specifically coming through with the message of needing to stay grounded. You need to support yourself in this work. Being a medium is not for the faint of heart. You need to have a strong mind in order to engage in mediumship, and in order to engage into any psychic practice or any medium practice. You need to be of a strong mind and not let the spirit communication consume you, because there is a life to live on Earth. And despite all of the chaos, all of the fears, the best way I find to handle these fears, especially if you're somebody who keeps having nightmares, if you find that you're suffering from all of this inner turmoil, is to let time do its thing and move slowly, but move on the outside regardless of what's happening on the inside. So going out for walks, and I don't mean meditative walks, sometimes something to just keep the mind busy, a grounding activity to do now. So like, you know, not something like, if you want to get centered and tune in and go for a walk in nature, that's fine too. But sometimes the most grounding thing that you can do is to just go out and kick a ball around, or do something that puts you in your physical body, that makes you feel it, so that you are not so far up in your head that you're just generating tons of energy of turmoil when you might not be ready, like, to face it yet. Go with the cycles. Like, you might do some intense shadow work the one week and then the next week not want to do anything at all. You don't have to constantly be trying to fix yourself. That's what I don't like. And fix yourself, I put that in quotes because, like, there's nothing that needs fixing, baby. There's nothing that needs to be fixing. Like, we're always healing. Healing is a cumulative process throughout our lifetimes. And there's this thing, there's this constant thing of, in the spiritual community, of needing to do this work, needing to do that work. you don't got to be pedal to the metal on your spiritual development all of the time. Because we are just constantly in a state of healing, and you're going to heal at your own pace. I, for one, am a slow healer. Like, I'm a healer by nature, but when it comes to myself, it takes me time to sort through things. It takes me time, like, because I'm very in my feelings, and my feelings are strong, and they last for a certain period of time. And others, I find, might be in that time period, like their time period might stretch to a few weeks. Mine is usually like mine's usually like I sleep it off and I'm okay, but it lasts a day. Others last for weeks. Others might take them months in order to shift a certain density of energy into something that they can actually work with. So let time do its thing for you. Time is so incredibly important. You don't need to be putting a microscope on all of this stuff that's bothering you right now. Okay, so give yourself a breather with that, if you're somebody who's been pushing it and trying to find answers. This is this is a very new deck to me, so I won't specifically be channeling, I won't be channeling this hardcore intuitively. I'm actually going to pull the book on this. This is Kyle Gray, Gateway of Light Activation Oracle. And we'll see what else. So we talked about specifically for your gifts, and we talked about your journey in receiving them. So specifically with you, mediumship, sensing energy from places, and dream work, dream analysis, symbolic dreams, working through your fears. What else do we got going on here? Hang on, that was like two different. Sorry, Spirit, let me give him one more, but here we go. So you have Merkaba activation, transcendence, ascension, you are rising up. And I'm hearing you have all the tools that you need in order to move forward with this. You have all of the tools that you need. So don't feel that you're lacking in any way. This card says Merkaba and Merkaba are ancient Egyptian and Hebrew words. And I'm not saying that right, and I know it. They're ancient Egyptian and Hebrew words related to the ascension process of the soul. The Hebrew Merkaba or Merkava means chariot or vehicle, and it's most commonly associated with the prophet Ezekiel's vision of angels traveling on or in spheres of light. In ancient Egyptian, Mer means light, Ka means spirit, and Ba means body. When these three words are put together, the idea is that light engulfs the spirit and body, and there's an opportunity to rise up. The symbol of the Merkaba is the star tetrahedron. This 8-pointed star is simply the three-dimensional extension of a hexagram, a symbol that is strongly associated with the Hebrew and Egyptian mystery schools. In modern spirituality, the Merkaba is acknowledged as a light body or vehicle that we can activate for the ascension process. It has been said that it is surrounded by an 8-pointed star tetrahedron, and when we're aligned on a spiritual level, the star spins at great speed, creating a sphere of unbreakable light around us. This sphere of light can help us move between the dimensions. While we are having a human experience, it creates a portal into the divine matrix so that we can connect with guidance and walk the path of light. So in order to connect, you can place one hand on your heart and the other on the space just above your pubic bone. Breathe, send your breath down to earth. Send your breath up to heaven, then chant Merkaba several times. When you feel you've chanted enough, visualize or physically see a spinning sphere of light surrounding your body and be open to wisdom coming through. You are engulfed in light. So the message of this card is you are raising your vibration and becoming magnetic to the presence and wisdom of light. You are in a space of ascension. The ascension process isn't about leaving this incarnation or dimension, but about finding harmony within it. All of the attention, love, and care you have been giving to your body are supporting your spiritual journey. A powerful gateway of light is surrounding you now, allowing you to connect with the divine matrix of ancient wisdom. It's important for you to be aware of the information, energy, and downloads you are receiving, for all that's coming through is supporting your expansion. You are moving up a level. It's time to fly high. Oh, this is going back to the tarot. It's actually coming up really sharp in my throat chakra right now, about needing to go to a specific place in the world. And again, if you don't have the means, don't feel pressure. But, you know, maybe actively make plans sometime in the future to go to a place that you are drawn to in the world. And it's all for different reasons, but there's something about a spiritual location to go to in which spiritual information can be unlocked. You can try to unlock this now, but I believe it would be more powerful if you actually visited this location. But again, for some of you, traveling is like you're going to find a way there. Like, try to manifest a way to wherever you are meant to go. For me, it's somewhere in Egypt. I was told that there was something there that I lost, and apparently I can regain it by going. I don't even know where I'm going or what I would be doing, but I would imagine that I need to trust that, like, the way is being paved. You're getting a lot of meditations. That's interesting. You have the rose meditation as well. So this is like the next steps to strengthening your gift. Okay, so that meditation for the Merkaba is something that, you know, you can do. It seems like you have a lot of meditating tools on this one. And specifically, this helps exercise clairvoyance, it looks like, and working with symbols. But this is also from the Mediumship training deck by John Holland and Lauren Rainbow. I highly recommend it if you are into mediumship. If you are looking to do that, you know, this deck, I don't know. I will always recommend this deck to mediums just because it has helped me tremendously. But I'm going to read this card. So when you're developing your psychic and mediumistic potential, it's essential to experiment with different practices and techniques, such as the special rose meditation, which can help your spiritual abilities to grow and evolve. This will assist you in strengthening the loving bridge across both realms. Try this intuitive rose meditation with a friend. Have your friend tell you the name of someone living they know who's unknown to you so you remain objective. Now picture a rose in the area of your third eye, whatever color you wish, and then softly concentrate on the person's name you were given. Take your time, let the symbol of the rose evolve in your mind's eye. If the rose is opening, it could mean the person is happy, secure, and content. If it's wilting, then it's possible that the individual is going through an emotional time or suffering ill health. If you notice a separate stem coming from the rose, this could suggest the person is taking a different path. Every interpretation will be different. Let your own intuitive awareness interpret what the rose means to you. Now explain what you've received to your friends so that they can validate the information. You can also use this form of meditation when you're receiving a symbol, picture, or even a word, either on a psychic or mediumistic level. The rose meditation gives you the opportunity to take a moment to hear the story. So, okay. So if you have someone to practice with, that would be amazing. You can also actually do this with, you can basically do this with anything, mind you. Maybe not specifically with people, but you can do this with, let's see, just any type of psychic exercise work. I know that there are lots of forums actually on Facebook that post this sometimes. Specifically, it'll be like in psychic or spiritualist groups where people will say, okay, I'm thinking of a number, or I'm thinking of a number, or I'm thinking of a number or a symbol, and I'm going to post the results in 24 hours. And like, you know, stopping a meditation and then figuring out, okay, what's like, you know, what's coming to mind. But if you do have someone to practice with, great. If you don't, you can always find something and test yourself. You could have, like, I like to have my oracle cards, but you can draw pictures on something and flip them over too. And then you can just kind of drop in, tune in, and view, like, you can use it for a rose if you draw different smiley faces or different emojis or something, and you can picture the rose that way and see, well, how are they doing, and then like try to, like, what emoji am I like focusing on, or what face am I focusing on, what picture, and then see what symbols are coming to mind, or what specifically, if you're using the rose, what that rose does for you. Okay, and you can work on your symbol dictionary that way. Last but not least, I will roll the angel dice for you. But specifically, yes, I feel like for some of you, you could be seeing things more, because this is a clairvoyant meditation. This is something to harness your clairvoyance. So some of you might have a strong, like, some of you might see spirits a lot more, or like that could be your key to working with spirits on the other side, is that clairvoyant communication. So having them send you images. Let's pull, it fell. Okay, I'm assuming I don't need it since it is falling. 17. As one door closes, another door opens. Angels are with you to help direct your thoughts in a positive way. One more time. As one door closes, another door opens. Angels are with you to help direct your thoughts in a positive way. So this is just a closing message. You can apply it to wherever in your life you see fit. That being said, that is the end of your reading. So thank you, Pile 2, for allowing me to channel this energy. Thank you for sitting with me. Thank you to your angels and guides. Thank you to my angels and guides for helping me with this. I wish you nothing but all of the blessings and all of the love in the world. If this resonates with you in any way, go ahead, like and subscribe down below. It does help the channel grow. If this, you know what, if this actually calls to mind any resources, I love to, I'm a big learner. I'm a big fan of just reading everything I can get my hands on, because I want to know everything about the spiritual, everything about the metaphysical. So if you so feel called, if you would like to share your resources with the community, go ahead and drop like a book you're reading or a website you've been learning from. That way we can all learn, we can all grow, and we can all support each other throughout our psychic and spiritual development. So I love you, I love you, I love you, and I will see you next time. Bye. Hey there, pile 3. If you chose this pile, you chose the lapis lazuli. I'm going to give you one more close-up of it in all of its beautiful golden flecks, shiny blue surface. This is actually one of my favorite stones. The meaning itself doesn't have to pertain to the message, but I always like to share just because I like to teach. I like to share what I know. So, lapis lazuli is actually really good for the throat chakra. The 5th chakra resides in the hollow of our throat, and it helps with our self-expression, connecting with our authenticity. It can also be used in dream work and connecting with your guides, but specifically connecting with your mission, connecting with your purpose, especially if it is with expressing your authenticity. I always feel like myself when I hold this stone. It's one of my favorites. One of my favorites. I'm going to put it up here so you can gaze at it at your leisure. I'm going to put this oracle off to the side because we're not going to get into that just yet. We're going to get into your tarot. So, that's funny. The Queen of Swords was trying to come out earlier too, but I waited for it to jump out. So let's see. Okay, let me sit with these cards for a second. Oh. So, I'm hearing the phrase angel work. And the piles 1 and 2 were just a tad bit similar, but Spirit's telling me to change my tune for this one, which means that it is related to something different. They all usually are, but they're just giving me a heads up that it's in a different direction than the other two. But specifically, this is talking about angel work, connecting with those frequencies, either with archangels. Specifically, Archangel Michael comes through, but that's just one of the main ones that I work with. Let me see. So you're given like a new life. I don't know if you've come out of some type of rebirth or some type of transformation, or maybe you've had some type of near-death experience. There's something here about like a second chance, because with the Ace of Cups, there's something about, coming into this new state or this new sense of being. And with cups, it's like your emotional world or having like a new sense of purpose. So there's something being like, it's almost, I just keep getting like a breath into life, or breathe into life. So it's like new breath into life. I don't know if that makes sense, but it's like you have a new breath, or you're taking new breaths and stepping into a new frame of existence in which you might not have been able to walk before. But this new chance has offered you like these new spiritual gifts, or this new, I don't want to say like this new lease, this second chance, however this pertains to you. It is this coming out of this rebirth period and having this second chance at something, or stepping into this new person phase. I wouldn't even call it a phase, like you changed as a person. And your psychic gifts came with this second chance. You're somebody who's experienced a lot of pain and sorrow with the Queen of Swords, so she's had to pull through. The Queen of Swords is just very sad. Somebody who has had to pull through immense amount of pain and trauma in order to grow and become the strong person that they're meant to be. So, you've been cultivated as a person. It's I don't know. I guess in the most insensitive way, you could say it was character building. I don't really know of a more gentle way. It seems to just, I don't know. It's so interesting because, like, your channel is so direct and to the point. So I don't really feel the need to powder it with anything to, like, I don't want to sugarcoat it too much, but they're just being very hardcore simple coming through here. Maybe, I don't know if you know someone on the other side who just comes through very simply and to the point, or if that's how you communicate with your guides, coming through very simply and to the point. Spirit's saying, like, you know, there's been a lot of pressures on you as of late, and try not to pressure yourself too much. If you understand that you have a job to do, if you understand that you are, that you have a mission to accomplish here on Earth, don't put too much in on yourself. I see a lot of very strong cards here. Aces are very powerful. The queens, the sires, which is basically the king in this deck. The fact that you also have a major arcana card here of justice as well. Like, these are just huge power card. Like, you have big powerful energy, not only for manifestation, but I feel like your psychic gifts are just incredibly strong. You're somebody who is mesmerized maybe with a certain thing. Like, what is your gift? I'm not really getting anything in particular. Like, I see various things. I see astral walking. I see something about connecting strongly with the other side or connecting with angels. But there's something here that, like, in order to connect deeply with souls, with energies and entities, you would have needed to undergo a lot of the lessons that you have in life in order for you to fully embrace this gift and understand the depths of it, in order to appreciate it fully. There are still some things that you've encountered in life, or there are still some lessons that you've been taught recently that are still sore, or things that still need to be worked through. There's no rush, there's no pressure to get through those things. But if this is you, I'm trying to, like, settle into this energy here and get familiar with it, but it seems like whatever the case may be, it seems like the things that you've been through, there are some things that still feel emotionally sore for you. The King of Cups, though, the Queen of Swords has a calm mind, and despite all of her emotional turmoil, has a calm mind, and the King of Cups is very, how I want to say, he's in control of his emotions. He is I mentioned this in a previous reading as well with the Sire of Cups, and that he is a teacher to others, because you can see that in this small little dragon. And I feel like for this pile, though, yes, you're a teacher, but it's going to be more of a generational thing. So if you're somebody who is interested in having kids or teaching kids in some way, this is a good card for breaking a cycle that may have been present in your own family, so that you can teach your children, teach the next generation how to manage their emotions a lot better than you were taught. And it's not like you were out of control with your emotions or anything. I mean, you might have, I don't know, but it almost seems like you're learning how to better cope with things. You're learning how to let things go with the Eight of Cups, and you're, hang on, Spirit's like, don't go too fast. But with the Sire of Cups, it's something about a generational thing. This is actually, whatever psychic gift this is, the emotional journey that you've had up until this point is intertwining with your psychic gifts and making them stronger. But these psychic gifts are something that you will end up, if you choose to have children, being passed on to your children. So expect that. Or, I mean, expect the possibility, you know. I don't, you know, I would feel awful if, you know, somebody had a child coming out of the womb and then was like, okay, you're going to be the greatest damn psychic anyone's ever known. Like, okay, not that. But expect that you may have to have psychic conversations, or you may have to teach them psychic things, or the things that you were able to do, only because, like, that stuff is genetic. It's like for me, it runs in my family, and I know that, you know, my parents might not have been able to handle the truth at some point of the different things that they could do. So it kind of skipped, because my grandmother was really into it, and then my parents were very afraid of it. So, and it didn't really skip. They had abilities of their own. They just shut it out of fear. And now, like, I've chosen to embrace it. And whatever you choose to do with your psychic gifts, I'm assuming that if you're here, that you've chosen to embrace them and that you're choosing to work with them, which is fine. That's amazing. That's great. But it's also okay to not completely indulge. There's always the choice of walking away. I do see the Eight of Cups. You've learned to walk away from things that aren't serving you. I do see that you have a ton of options. You have, okay, never mind. Hang on. You have a lot of options. No, that's not a never mind, as in like what I said, but I was inching towards this one meaning, and then Spirit was like, actually, this is what it means. They're showing me a battlefield of all of this torment, and you choosing to walk away from it. Like, you're walking away from the battlefield. Spirit says you've given your everything, you've given your all, and now it's time to go, because you've already grown from the situation. You've already learned what you needed to learn, and now you have almost like you have your keepsakes, or you're leaving behind certain keepsakes that remind you of the past. So you're taking the keepsakes that to keep with, like, how do I want to say this? You're keeping what's important to you, but other things that you've recognized as keepsakes before, you are leaving behind, because this is a part of an old life. It's a part of an old journey that you've grown out of. You've grown into something different. You've grown into something more. But this battlefield, it's almost like you've lingered, or you stayed on this battlefield for too long. And it served its purpose. So it might feel in the human realm, I guess, like your ego might feel like you might have feelings approaching this reading, like, I have stayed for way too long. I should have left this life earlier. But Spirit is almost saying, like, it took this long exactly. Like, not that it was, I mean, we always have the option to leave sooner or later, but the option is always there, but Spirit is saying it is all in perfect time. If timing is an issue, Spirit's asking you not to beat yourself up over that. But your psychic gifts, now that you are, I don't want to say this old life has provided chains on you. I think this is a different stage. Which is probably why the word, like, a different phase wanted to come out earlier. It's not really a phase. I feel like we're always growing and changing as people. But your psychic gifts in the situation that you were in, or in this old life that you were living, it was not going to come to you in those circumstances. They have spirits, like, we've provided guidance and counsel when you were scared through ways that you might not have even understood. It might have been more subtle. So they've always been there. But now they are getting more prominent. So even if that's something that's like, if you're coming to pick a card reading, or if you're watching readings on YouTube, then maybe you have learned, maybe you've learned recently in, like, your old life, maybe you weren't exposed to tarot readings, and you weren't really understanding that your guides could speak to you that way. And then as of recently, you know, in this new life, you found, oh wow, I can communicate with my guides through cards. Like, they can show me their messages loud and clear. That's just one example. For some of you, it could be tough, like, full on communicating with the other side. Like, you know, you can do it. Like, maybe it's more of like maybe before you couldn't communicate with the other side, and now you can. They're showing me like a very strict divide here of not being able to or not being aware, and then all of a sudden being aware. I feel like this new breath of life might be actually a spiritual awakening for a lot of you. I don't know why I'm getting that, but it's almost like you were in an awful situation, almost like a battlefield. You've come out of it, and you've come out stronger, more enlightened, and stronger in your psychic gifts because of everything that you've gone through. Justice here is a desire to bring this, actually, whatever the psychic gift is, you can use it to bring justice to the world, because you yourself have been exposed to injustice. Whatever this battlefield was, you felt that something about it was not fair, and now you know. There's so much here about boundary issues that's coming up. This boundaries, and about like I don't know, control is coming to mind as well. I'm just getting the sense that something was unfair, and it's almost like Spirit's not really putting blame here. It's almost like that you put yourself through a particular situation, or whatever it is that you've had to go through up until this point. There was just something here that said that, you know, that, gosh, how do I want to word this? Sorry, I'm trying to grab at something in Spirit's like, I guess it doesn't seem that important. It's like, but I don't know. I really just feel like that's it. Like, they're just coming through simply, as in, like, you were just in a situation that was unfair, and now you want to try to work to help other people see, like, to help other people leave situations that are unfair, or to know their worth enough in order to move beyond situations that aren't favoring them. So, let's see what other cards are coming up for you for your oracle. Oh my gosh, what did I just say? The bat is quite literally the rebirth card of this animal spirit deck. What did I say? Okay, sorry. But the bat spirit is with you now to reassure you that, Spirit says, so plan to change. The bat spirit is here to actually help you through time period of change. So oftentimes, people think that a rebirth, a second chance, is linear, or not linear. It's some people imagine it as a flip of a switch. One day you're your old self, and the next day you're not. And the truth is that change takes time. It takes time for you to develop new routines, new habits, because you have this. I'm just going to use this the concept of spiritual awakening as an example. But for you, it does not have to be a spiritual awakening. Just apply whatever the second lease on life, the second chance, whatever that is for you. But let's say you've undergone a spiritual awakening. You now have to change everything that you know about your life in order to accommodate this new worldview. So the best way that I can describe it is, at least for me, when I underwent my spiritual awakening, I felt like the rug was ripped out from underneath me, and then I just felt like I was floating in space, quite literally for weeks on end, until I got my footing and could, like, get back on solid ground. But there was a whole energy that I was dealing with where, you know, when things change, things are like, I don't know how, it might be hard for me to describe this, because I'm going to express this next segment in terms of how I feel energy. So I'm hoping that we can get some type of understanding from this. But energy is usually energy that's comfortable, doesn't feel like it rocks the boat in any way. It might feel like if it stays the same for a while, it might feel kind of shifty. Just imagine a bunch of particles in the air not moving very much. And then when things change, these particles vibrate very strongly, very wildly, and it's unsettling, and it feels unnerving. Spirit wants you to know that despite everything feeling crazy, that you are safe, that this process of change is safe for you. It would seem kind of crazy, but it actually takes a while. Every situation is different. Sometimes it takes a few minutes to settle. Sometimes it takes a whole year. It depends on the type of change, what change it is, how big of a change is it in your normal everyday life. But that energy needs time to settle back into a rhythm. And things aren't meant to stay in the same rhythm forever because life is ever changing. So the bat spirit is here to help you with that. I'm going to pull open the book to see what's going to make the... Oh my gosh, I just opened it to the bat. That's crazy. So darkness, letting go, death leading to rebirth. Before emerging, the bat waits for the sun to set and the moon to rise. In the darkness, it can see all that was invisible in the daylight hours. The bat is a master of the subtle senses, of the underlying forces that cause some things to prosper and others to fade. The bat card shows up to signify the ending of a chapter, the closing of a door. The bat comes swiftly, encouraging us to move on. In just a few hours, a new day dawns. No more lingering in the past. So when in balance, it accepts, adapts, and adjusts. When it's out of balance, it refuses to let go and reminisces. To bring into balance, watch the sunrise. Actually, Spirit's saying take the steps to, take necessary steps to engage with that sunrise as well. So, like, yes, you can, Spirit's asking you not to passively welcome in this new stage of your life. Quite literally engage with it. So, they're giving me the image of somebody who's not only watching the sunrise, but they are putting plants out on the porch and they are offering something to grow as the sun rises from rises from the east, sets in the west. But as this sun is coming, as the sun is rising, you're having plants grow with it. You're having something new growing with it. So cultivate something new. That actually helps the process move forward in terms of moving on. You have Orion activation here. Supernova, recreation, renewal, rebirthed by light. Ooh, and this is actually another, this deck I always pull from the deck, or from the book on this one. Blech, sorry, this is the first time I'm channeling today, so my words are just, I need to come to my words. So I'm going to pull from the book on this because this is one of my newer decks. I'm very excited to use this, but I'm still learning. So Orion is one of the best known constellations in the night sky. Its name is Greek for hunter, and its stars can be seen as a figure with a sword accompanied by a dog, Sirius. At the center of the constellation, 3 stars, Alnitak, Alnilam, and Mintaka, appear in a belt-like formation. To the south of Orion's belt, there's a nebula that has revealed much about how stars and planetary systems are formed. The best way to describe this space is as a star nursery. During a star's last evolutionary stages, it explodes into a supernova, which provides the perfect space for a new star to be born. The Orion constellation is home to a number of higher beings, many of whom are dedicated to the evolution of our planet. Even though the idea of the constellation being a hunter may make it seem highly masculine, its energies are in fact similar to those of Lemurians, and its inhabitants therefore honor all beings. The beings of Orion are in fact sacred space holders who help all of those with star power and star potential to make the changes required to become the most ascended and aware form of themselves. So in order to connect to this energy, find Orion in the night sky and connect with its image online, or connect with its image online, then say, "Great wise ones of Orion, thank you for supporting my recreation and renewal. I am ready to shine like a star." The message of this card is that all of your fears and setbacks are being stripped from your energy now. It is essential for your old way of being to fall away and for you to go through a process of renewal in order to move forward. The old stories of your life aren't yours to live out or live up to. You are far greater than these limiting experiences. The beings of Orion are surrounding you now, and they see you as one of them. Someone who has been born with the knowledge that they can live with great purpose and make a real difference in the world. Whether on a global scale or in a particular corner of the planet, when you draw this card, you're being reminded that you have infinite star potential. So, specifically, something about the night and stargazing is coming to mind. So, channeling information via the stars or something important about the stars. I don't know if it's astrology or what it is, but there's something here. Like maybe you might connect with astrology a lot. So let me actually roll the astro dice for you here. But maybe you might connect with astrology. And that might be like a new form of study for you. So, okay. Yeah, so make sure that you're taking care of yourself. So you have Uranus, Virgo in the first house. Uranus is a sudden, unexpected change, unexpected event. The biggest thing about Uranus is the change, the sudden, groundbreaking, earth-shattering change. And I find that Uranus's energy comes in different magnitudes. For you, Spirit's like it's a 7.9. Like, it seems like a really big one. But a certain type of change. Virgo is self-care, so needing to take care of the self. Interestingly enough, we have the first house, which does govern the self. It's the physical appearance, it's our vitality, it's our attraction, but specifically, Spirit is coming through saying physical body. So make sure that you are taking care of the body's physical needs throughout this time period, that you are not shirking on your duties of things like brushing your teeth and like going for walks during the day and getting the appropriate amount of rest and food. Because it's very easy when you are hang on. Okay. So Spirit is saying that you might be so hell-bent on, they quite literally use those words, that you're so hell-bent on changing things up that you're forgetting to do the small stuff. But the quote-unquote small stuff is actually big stuff, like brushing your teeth and taking like the appropriate amount of sleep. Specifically, they're saying drink water every day. I don't know if some of you are skimping out on that water, but guys, my tribe, drink your water. I am somebody who often forgets too, but you know, make sure that you're not forgetting all of those things. It doesn't mean everything in your life has to have equal importance, but make sure that you are at least doing the bare minimum for your body so that you can continue to function. In a perfect world, we would have everything, you know, all of our lives would be perfectly balanced, but balance is a myth. So I would say just make sure that you're paying attention to your physical body, because taking care of your physical, your spiritual, your emotional, your mental, it's all interconnected. It's all going to play off one another. So if one suffers, the others will follow. My spiritual awakening, I personally did not, there was many things that I didn't take care of, but I found that when I didn't eat right, and when I barely got any sleep, and I wasn't even aware. Like, I wasn't even aware until somebody, I didn't realize how much I wasn't eating until a spirit had come to me. This was during my spiritual awakening when things were awful. I handled it in like the worst way ever, and I'm writing a book about it. So, yeah, when that starts to come together, I'll keep you guys in the loop. But essentially, a spirit had come to me to say, you need to eat. And I was shocked. I was like, what do you mean? I eat every day. And he's like, no, you need to eat food. You need to eat. And he just stressed. He just made it very, very clear. He just kept saying it over and over again. And I didn't realize it until I haven't seen some of my friends in a while, or some of my coworkers, and when they saw me, they went, oh, wow, you lost a lot of weight. And I'm already naturally thin, so the fact that they were spooked was like, I was like, oh, I didn't realize that I lost so much weight. I had apparently lost, like, that 10 pounds was like a huge difference, and I was actually classified as underweight for a while, and it was not a fun time. So, yeah, that small stuff, quote unquote, that slips under your radar, that can become a very huge problem later, and it actually does affect your mental health and your spiritual health as well. So if you are working on really promoting your psychic gifts, and if you're really trying to train yourself, try your best to keep everything else as in balance as you can. It doesn't have to be perfect, but, you know, Spirit wants you to show up in a healthy way, okay? Alright, I took a drink myself because I just sat there talking about how everybody should drink water, and then I found that I was thirsty and parched as all hell. So, let's see what else you got in your oracles. Flying. So, let me tune into this card because I'm going to intuitively channel this one. I just heard someone say, not sure. So, they want me to use the book for it. Where is my book on this one? Hot damn. Where is it? A little help here, Spirit. Where's my... Ugh. Okay. Well, the book is missing, so I guess I'm not going to use it. Let's see. Let's go. Oh, here it is. It's off to my right. Come on, Amanda. Higher perspective. Okay, all right, I know what that is. I was like, wait a second. For whatever reason, there is, the dreams is coming through. So now that I'm seeing the higher perspective, it's all making sense. If you're somebody who hasn't been doing dream work, your guides talk to you via your dreams, if you don't know that already. I would keep a dream journal. Really try to connect with, what was it? Even if you don't remember your dreams, as soon as you wake up, even just recording how you feel starts that process. You'll remember more and more every night, and you'll be able to write down more and more if you do it consecutively. So there's something important coming through to your dreams. Important information on your next steps, specifically in relation to your purpose or your mission here on Earth. But yeah, Spirit's saying that, like, looking at things from a higher perspective and not honing in too much on the sufferings or everything that you've been through. This is one of those things where they want you to turn the whole "it's not happening," or people often say, like, why is this happening to me? But Spirit wants you to ask yourself, why is this happening? Or, like, this is happening for me, not it's happening to me. So it's one of those shifts in perspective. But also just understand that whatever this challenge is right now, that it's only temporary. That's the biggest thing. It's only temporary. It will fade. Things will change because things are ever changing. And that's okay. Better times are ahead. And they're calling you sweet pea or sweet something, like sweetie pie or sweet pea. So, I don't know. That's like a very specific thing. I have a guide that specifically calls me sweetheart sometimes. But, okay. I like this card too. But sometimes guides come through as very strong and firm, and then other times sometimes they have, like, very distinct personalities, and they'll show themselves with these distinct personalities. So I always find it interesting. But you also have clairsentience. Now, the intention with this deck is your next steps. So for you, it would be cultivating your clairsentience. I'm going to read the back here. Clairsentience is the most natural of all the psychic senses. It is the ability to sense the emotions or feelings of other people, animals, and your surroundings, as well as spirit people. Don't underestimate the power of clairsentience. It can assist you in all areas of your life and enhance your connection with spirit. Our bodies act as one big psychic antenna. When meeting someone for the first time, most of us have a gut response, or when walking into a room, it's possible to feel vibrations. When a medium is working and using their ability of clairsentience, they're able to feel or sense the spirit's energy, whether it's male, female, young, or old, and the nature of the illness that might have taken this spirit to the other side. The medium should be able to describe the spirit's personality and their mannerisms, and in some cases take on the characteristics of the spirit. This is the most common way most mediums work, and there are no limits to what the spirit can make the medium sense. So just as a heads up too, you don't have to be working towards mediumship in order to take the guidance of this card. It is mainly clairsentience, like the actual skill set that they want you to focus on. Both psychics and mediums feel clairsentience alike, but this deck is targeted towards mediums. It is the mediumship training deck, but I love using it for any and all psychic readings, just because there are so many useful tools here that work with psychics too. So let's see the rest of this here. Clairsentience is felt through the solar plexus center. You can strengthen this ability by practicing daily. Focus on your solar plexus center and ask yourself what you're feeling. Be sure to do this when meeting someone new or making an important decision. When you start asking how you're feeling, tuning into your solar plexus and paying attention, the psychic ability will strengthen and go. So Spirit's actually telling me to tell you where the solar plexus is. It is like below the heart. It's below the heart and it's above the belly button. It's like the middle point between those two. So it should be right below, it's like right in between the rib cage, kind of. That is where your solar plexus is. That is the location. It is typically assigned the color of bright yellow because it is seen as our shining gem. Our shining gem. Did I say shining gem? I'm sorry. Shining gem. It is seen as our vitality. And the solar plexus is this, like, they say it's like your second gut or your second brain, because there are nerves, I believe, that the brain and the solar plexus share. which is why it operates as like a second, like a second intuitive space. But yeah, so that's one way that's asking yourself and constantly checking in with how you are feeling. Asking yourself also what is yours and what's others. For those of my medium friends out there who are actively in spirit situations right now where they're sensing spirits and they don't really know what to do, I will say that asking yourself, is this mine or is this someone else's? This works for people who identify as empaths. This works for people who just straight up mesh with spirits too often or mesh with the energies in the places around them too often. And especially people who are people pleasers, i.e. Someone who I used to be. Old habits die hard sometimes, but feeling the need to please others, but not like, there's nothing wrong. I always say this. There's nothing wrong with wanting to people please because it means that you want to make someone else happy. And there's nothing wrong with that. But people pleasing becomes a people pleaser and not just somebody who commits to someone else's happiness. But it's like, it becomes like, it holds that negative connotation because people are pushing past their own boundaries in order to accommodate someone's happiness or in order to promote someone else's happiness. So, asking, you're quite literally turning that awareness or that attention to yourself and saying, what is mine? What is somebody else's? Or is this really mine? You'll find that if it's not yours, the feeling actually dissipates very, very quickly. This works with spirit communication. This works if you are around somebody else. It might be a little bit harder if you're emotionally invested in a situation that you are not involved in, but that is affecting somebody near and dear to you. If you say, whose emotion is this? You could also feel your own emotion or your own, like, the byproduct of the situation. But oftentimes I find that we carry the emotions of other people in other situations and places that aren't ours, like, especially like stress. So I find that stress is one thing that we carry a lot of. If other people are feeling stress, you know, that definitely has like a scientific reasoning behind it too, because we are probably sensing all of those hormones coming off of people's bodies and reacting in kind. But spiritually, we definitely feel that, like, you know, especially people who are empaths and who have very strong clairsentient abilities, where we find ourselves getting stressed. But then when we ask ourselves, it's a very useful tool, asking ourselves, wait, is this my stress or is this someone else's? And then you think, wait a second, I'm not stressed. I'm actually feeling fine. And then it helps you loosen up just a little bit, okay? But that's just one example. That works for everything. I mean, it might not be like a catch-all, but I found that it was just the biggest lifesaver for me. You'll have to find what works for you and look into the term clairsentience and like what that full capacity is for you, because that could actually be your greatest gift. Out of all of these things that you can do here, whether it be angel communication, dream work, communicating with the other side, whatever the case may be, clairsentience is your strongest way. You have a very strong and compassionate heart, Spirit is saying, and they don't want it to go to waste, essentially, with you burrowing into a hole and hiding it away. It is not meant to bring you suffering. It has caused you a lot of pain, but that's because you haven't known how to use it. You haven't known how to declare your power, to put up your own boundaries, and to exercise your compassion to healthy limits. So Spirit is saying that this is a gift. Don't let your experiences tarnish this amazing thing, because it is your strongest psychic ability, this clairsentience. It's your strongest gift that you were given. Okay? So we have 955 for your angel numbers, and we'll give you some lasting messages before I send you on your way. You are unlocking a profound truth, and this is creating powerful changes that will unleash your spiritual self. Reveal your gifts to experience abundance. One more time, you are unlocking a profound truth, and this is creating powerful changes that will unleash your spiritual self. Reveal your gifts to experience abundance. So interestingly enough, this wraps very nicely with the lapis lazuli stone, and I feel the need to bring it in because the other two stones and the other piles have had a relevance to the reading. And we talk here with the lapis lazuli about connecting with your authentic self. This is about our expression. The things that you must value in yourself, you need to understand that other people will value that too. your compassion, your feelings, your love for the world, the fact that you can sense others, that is an amazing thing that you might worry that other people would use that against you to manipulate you, and maybe they've done that in the past. But you are so much stronger when you put that out there. Practice putting it out there, and understand that if you have been manipulated once, or if you've been taken advantage of because of this ability, know that you have those experiences now. You can easily change your response to situations that you don't like. That is where the boundary comes in, standing up for yourself. This is my gift, and it is not meant to be used that way, is exactly what you can say. My gift of love, compassion, and for being the healer that I am is not meant to be used in such a way. And you are not going to use it as like, and oftentimes people use that as a weapon of their choice, your own clairsentience, your own, like, I want to be careful because clairsentience is not the same as compassion, but I do find that people who are heavily clairsentient hold the most compassion because they feel the pain of others. But I will say that start using it and treating it as a gift rather than something that can take you down, because you can very easily stand up to that. I mean, I wouldn't say easily because it takes a while. It might be hard at first, but I know you can do it. And I know because clairsentience is one of my strongest gifts. It's actually like, I always say it's clairaudient because like I'm mainly clairaudient, but I'm a feeler through and through with Pisces, moon, and rising. I'm a Sagittarius sun, I think, but my moon and rising are both Pisces. And clairsentience was what I first started my spiritual journey with, like feeling spirits, feeling that there was something in the room, feeling eyes on me, and just all of like the crazy, cool, scary, and amazing and touching things that have come with that gift. There were so many things that I can feel and understand with my clairsentience. It is like the backbone of my practice, though I have other gifts that are stronger now. For you, clairsentience is your backbone. That's why I'm like connecting so hard with this energy, and I'm understanding like how to communicate this, is because it's one of my backbones too. Yours might be more powerful than mine in terms of like, this might be your mainstay. This might be the main gift that you use and work with. And man, if you have any resources or books that you can give me to help me strengthen that, that would be great. Or if you find any, please come back and leave a comment down below. But anyway, that is what I have for you, Pile 3. Thank you so much for allowing me to channel for you. I know you got this. You seem to have a very strong sense of like, I don't know, it's just very strong energy and big spiritual vortex energy that I'm working with here. So I feel like you're about to go off and do some great grand thing. So it has been such an honor to be here to guide you. And I didn't mention this before, but I noticed the purple in both, and I love like the ends of the cards. And I take note of color a lot in the tarot, but specifically this tarot is cushioned by purple, and purple is the light of transfer, like the color of transformation. Often that's what a lot of Reiki healers tell me, and I've identified since then purple as being a very transformative energy. So being able to transmute the ick or the old energy into something new, something amazing, and something powerful. So anyway, that's the last of that. But thank you so much to your angels and your guides. Thank you to my angels and guides and all of the spirit teams involved, all the entities involved, for helping me channel this message. I hope that I uplifted and empowered you in some way, and it gave you some sense of direction for what your gifts are and what your journey has looked like up until now, what it can continue to be, and the next steps for you to strengthen this gift that you have. Turning your awareness, honestly, and getting clear as to what your gifts are can be a huge step in the right direction, because then you can find resources for it. So if you have any resources that you would like to share with others, definitely feel free to comment down below. You don't have to if you don't feel called, but if you so feel called, I would love to hear them. And yeah, I'd love to hear how this resonated with you. If this did in any way, go ahead, like it, subscribe. It really does help the channel grow. I love you, I love you, I love you, Pile 3, and I will see you next time. Bye.